Jingua, g'day from Bundjalung country. I'm Clarence Slockey and I'm a proud Bundjalung man. So I want to acknowledge my ancestors and all of the ancestors of this beautiful place. We're close to the border between Queensland and New South Wales. Behind me is the mighty Tweed River. And just beyond that, Wollumbin, our sacred mountain. A little bit shy today with cloud covering, but it is our sacred mountain and it's key to Bundjalung dreaming and Bundjalung spirituality. So between juggling full-time work, study and my beautiful family, I've also been a presenter on Gardening Australia for just over 10 years. Normally, I'm introducing you to people, their lives and their love of the land. Now it's my turn. Bundjalung country extends from the southeast coast of Queensland, around the Great Dividing Range, and funnily enough, south to the Clarence River. This area around the Tweed River is where I grew up, went to school and learned to appreciate my ancestry and the bush. This is Coogin Creek and it's some beautiful memories as a kid growing up around this area. You know, we'd go crabbing and they'd pick the right tide, the right moon, and you'd just come down and you'd literally see them all out and about doing their thing, and you just stand on them so they don't bite you, and then you just pick them up and put them in a bag. That's it. And so Coogin Creek, Coogera is all linked to this part of Bundjalung. It's a spiritual home for me as a person. Happy times, all right. It was beautiful. We're at the mouth of Coogin Creek, and Dad being a professional fisherman, I spent a lot of time here growing up, sitting on these rocks or going out in the boat with him. So just down the way where the pelicans are there, you can see where the boat ramp is, and you'd have to really concentrate to try and find exactly where the channel is and make your way to the left, to the right, carve across, and then get as close as you can to the other side there where you can see the deep water, make your way out through the mouth and then cut across, hard left and make it around these bommies. So you can see all this reef that's out here. A lot of my cousins are still getting out and about here doing a lot of fishing, and I remember in my early years out here with my brothers and sisters and wetting a line while we're watching our uncles and Dad go out and fish for the day. All around you can see these amazing plant species. In this little remnant pocket here, I remember walking around this area and other areas around Wollumbin and seeing this rainforest and really getting close to nature and getting an affinity for the plants and particularly these rainforest species. Once I got a little bit older and Mum and Dad had bought their own farm, I got to year 12 and I was able to grow some of my own produce to save up the money to buy my first car. Much to my dad's displeasure, I spent my first bit of savings on a new guitar. I worked a bit harder, grew a few more beans, and then bought myself a car. A HZ panel van, which doubled as my sleeping quarters. You go on a surfing trip and you've got somewhere to stay, you've got somewhere to have all your gear and carry all your surfboards, and I was right into enjoying nature, basically. My family have always been connected to the land and the sea, and this land in particular at Coogin holds a special place in my heart. Just behind me, that's my local primary school, Coogin Primary. One thing I do remember is just the space that we had and the fact that it's still backing onto farmland. We spent a lot of time on the farms around this district, picking different vegetables, different fruits, and really getting connected to the land, but also understanding how much effort it is in growing plants. After finishing school and trying to work out what I wanted to actually do and where I wanted to go, I decided to start up my own landscaping business. And when you look at what was the yellow pages back then, before the World Wide Web, it was AAA landscaping or AAA this or AAA that, and just so people could be at the top of the list. So I thought, sand mowing sensational, just to throw a spanner into the works and get the curiosity value peaked, and it worked out all right. Being a landscaper was sort of, I guess it was a natural progression from having grown up on farms and And my immediate family are still farming, but I had friends who had gone through a dance college called NAISDA, the National Aboriginal and Islander Skills Development Association. It is a training ground for a lot of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander performers and musicians and dancers, and has some amazing alumni. So I saw that as a place where I could get into a space that I was really interested in when I was younger, but also a way of reconnecting to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander culture generally. My first foray into television was a documentary series called Dream Time to Dance, and it was basically a film crew that followed the college for a year back in 2000.
Assessment is a week-long affair. In every class, the students are keenly observed by staff who determine their progress since the beginning of the year and their physical ability and skills for inclusion in the all-important end-of-year show.
It was a really amazing time to document and to have that as something I can look back on, and that time in my life.
I think the viewers at home can see how well I'm going in ballet. Not real good.
I still perform today, and I'm really lucky to have had the chance to share our culture in Australia and all over the world. It's been something really special. Towards the end of my arts career, so to speak, I was already working in the education space, so facilitating workshops and in music and dance and cultural workshops. So it was a natural progression when I saw an advertisement for education officer at the Royal Botanic Gardens, Sydney. It was a dream role, really. Back in 2009, I was fortunate enough that a fellow by the name of Angus Stewart happened to pop by to shoot a segment for Gardening Australia, and I was asked to be in that story. And Angus and I had quite a good time and quite a good rapport, actually, and I really enjoyed my time doing that story. And the producers at Gardening Australia seemed to have liked what they saw and asked me if I wouldn't mind doing some guest presenting. And one thing led to another, and here I am.
G'day and welcome to a very special episode of Gardening Australia.
Jingua and g'day. Happy NAIDOC Week, everyone. Spent just over a decade at the Botanic Gardens and thought a change would be good, and moved to a similar role at Barangaroo. So what was the Sydney Ports is being redeveloped into a new precinct and a new suburb. Angus Stewart came back to shoot a story about that recreation of the headland, and we got to work together again. Once again, I'm moving forward, and my time at Barangaroo is now ended, and I'm moving into a whole other realm at the moment. Good to see you again, brother. Take care.
You take care too.
When I was working full-time, I was also studying full-time, and went back to UTS Business School and came out with a business degree with distinction, and thought I'd put those skills to use, and kicked off a business called Yirrabingan with a good friend of mine, and we've developed Australia's first native rooftop farm. So it's something I'm really excited about, and something that we're really hoping that we can get out there to people and show how we can have green infrastructure and really change the face of our cities.